This is Help Wanted, the show that makes your work work for you. I'm Jason Pfeiffer, editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine.
And I'm money expert Nicole Lappin. On Tuesdays, Jason and I answer the helpline and help callers solve their work problems.
And on Thursdays, I give you one way to improve your work and build a career or company you love.
And it starts now.
Nicole, pop quiz. What percentage of people do you think feel like their partner has held them back professionally? Held them back. There's a resentment bubbling.
25%.
That's close-ish, about 33%. One in three feel like their partner has held them back. That came from this study that this company Headway happened to just email me. And I read it. I was kind of interesting because then they threw out all these other statistics that surprised me. So
you love statistics.
I love a good statistic. It tells you so much, and yet at the same time, it tells you so little. And that's why it's so intriguing. It's true, though, isn't it? It's like, because it will tell you a interesting insight into something, but it lacks any kind of context or explanation.
Yeah.
And so it, to me, always begs the question of why is that and how is it counted that way? And I just kind of love unpacking, trying to understand what is behind these things. 37% admit feeling held back by their partner. Okay, so it was a little higher than I had originally said because they said 1 in 3, but 37%.
Like a current partner or a...
By their partner, it said. So I'm going to go with their current partner. But that is an interesting...
I don't know. Brings up more questions than answers.
Yeah, this is the thing with statistics. So that's true, because are they living with that resentment, or was that resentment just around in some relationship at some point? But I don't know. Whatever. We're just going to keep going with it. Headway, you should have written a better email. 35% admit that they felt embarrassed by their partner's lack of ambition or money issues. That I think is interesting. So 35% admit they feel embarrassed by their partner's lack of ambition. And then 46% hide achievements from their significant other. 57% of those people are men.
So they're all in the wrong relationships.
They're all in the wrong. Yes, they are definitely in the wrong.
37% of people.
They are definitely in the wrong relationships. When I read this, the thing that I thought about was how longtime listeners will know this, but for those new, my wife is named Jen. We've been together a long time. And prior to Jen, I was in a very long relationship, 9-year relationship with a girl I met. It was through college and then into our 20s. And in that time, she and I had very divergent feelings on professional ambition. And I became very focused on my work, and it became a core part of my identity. And it did not for her. She enjoyed her work, but it definitely wasn't central to her identity. And she was pretty happy she wouldn't say it like this, so this is probably a little demeaning, but like kind of coast. Like she just wanted to find a place so she was comfortable and just be there. And that
is not you.
Is not me. And when we broke up and I moved to New York and I met Jen, one of the things that really drew me to her was that we had a equal level of professional ambition. I felt understood, I felt seen, and also we were able to then make space for each other's professional ambitions in a way in which I did not get that feeling with my girlfriend. So like we would run into this thing with my girlfriend all the time where she would not understand why I had to prioritize work in this moment. Or like, why do you have to keep doing that? We lived in Boston and then I moved to New York because I got a job. She literally said to me, when does this stop? Like, when do you stop making decisions about your life based on your professional ambitions? And, that I didn't know the answer to that. And I told my parents that she said that to me. And my dad said, the answer is never. Like the answer is that it never stops.
Yeah, Roy, tell her.
It's true. It was a great answer. It was like an answer that I needed to process. So anyway, these statistics just jumped out at me is that we know very well, and you've written about many times, that money can be a real source of stress and tension in a relationship. But the idea of mismatched senses of ambition is something that I had thought less about, but is equally disruptive.
Yeah, it's bad news bears. You can't have
bad news bears.
No, no. If you're in a mismatched ambition relationship, get out of it. The end.
There's Nicole's very brief advice to you.
I'm done with this episode. That's how I feel about it.
Dump and run. Just get out. Yeah.
Get out while you can. If you're hyper ambitious and your partner is like, I don't think that you should be that way, you will resent them if you dim your light. Now, granted, it doesn't have to be matchy match, but it can't be like a resentment thing. If one person is like, go do your thing, you get out there, I will be your biggest fan. Like, you want to move a bunch of times, I'm here to support, I'm here to hold down the family fort, whatever. But being like, when are you going to stop being ambitious?
Yeah.
Just like be in the fort with me. Like, that doesn't work out.
That doesn't work. At that time, when I called my parents for advice because I was thinking about moving to New York for this job and it was going to lead to this breakup, my parents said something like, well, what's the other option? The other option is that you stay in Boston and turn down this job and then have limited career opportunities and buy a place or something. And then what?
Maybe you could convince yourself at the time, and then 20 years passes and then you hate yourself and you hate her and you're just hating life. And
not great. I want to talk to the people who responded to this survey. So 37% admit feeling held back by their partner. If somebody came on to the show, Nicole, and they said, I've called you help wanted hosts because the help I need is that I am in this relationship and I feel like my career would have advanced further had I not had to make the sacrifices for this relationship. What would we tell them? Let's say you can't just get out of there.
I'd have questions for them. A lot of questions.
Yeah.
I know you do have to, I don't know about making sacrifice, but you do have to compromise. And if you view that as a sacrifice, then you're not maybe compromising in the best way.
That
because
is a good distinction. Yeah, keep going.
You talk about this a lot. I have so many voice memos from you about this very idea, but you never frame it like that. You go out and do a lot of speaking gigs, you leave the family, you and your amazing wife have a great system that you have in place. You look at it pretty methodically around how long you're going to be away, how much the thing is going to yield and whatever.
Right.
And that's a compromise. If you didn't have Jen or your children, you would be on the speaking thing. You would show up to an opening of an envelope.
I absolutely would. For free. You wouldn't even have to pay me. I'd be there just because I like doing it. Yes. No, you're right.
But you don't, because you like having a wife and kids and a family. Yeah. And that's not a sacrifice. That's a compromise that you made.
Yeah. That's great. I think the distinction between sacrifice and compromise is really valuable, because the thing about compromise, and I'm not breaking any news here in defining compromise, but just to lay it out, the thing about compromise is that you give and you get, and there's an understanding that giving up something at some point is also in the service of getting something somewhere else. And that is definitely the case, in so many ways. So the scenario that you're laying out here is that I travel a lot for speaking. I also could be traveling for all sorts of other things. I get invited to stuff all the time that I turn down, and it makes me sad to turn it down. But I also realize that in the grand scope of my life, there are things that I have to say no to right now, but that I can say yes to later. We're at a particular moment in time. And that particular moment in time is that I have little kids. And so traveling is burdensome on the family in many different ways. One, because the kids are young enough that they care if I'm around. At some point, they'll be older and they're not going to care if I'm around. And that also, they're not always the easiest. And so if I'm gone, then my wife, Jen, has to watch them. And so I am trading off some things now, and totally, there are definitely times where I feel held back by that. It's not a good feeling, but I also always remind myself, number one, we are making compromises. If it's important, Jen says, yeah, go do it. And also, I know that there will be time in the future where I don't have to sacrifice as much as I do right now. And so the idea of understanding that there are trade-offs and we're just in the process of a trade-off is the thing that can ground me.
Yeah. I mean, you even said it to me recently when I was like, we should be doing the show in person and doing
Right.
videos. And you're like, just hold on to that idea for 8 more years
Yeah, I did.
until my kids
Right.
won't care.
Yeah,
And I'll
that's
be
actually
there all the time.
Yeah, that's actually this is actually a worthwhile thing to unpack a little bit here, right? So for context, we primarily tape this show remotely because you live in LA and I live in New York. And so right now we are talking over Zoom, but occasionally we get to do it in person, usually actually exclusively so far because you've been in New York. And that is so fun. And it's much better to do it in person. It's great. And then we also get to hang out and just, it's all better. You recently asked me if I would fly out to LA on some kind of cadence so that we could tape things in person and also do them on video because the podcasting industry is now becoming a video industry for reasons that I don't really understand, but that's another episode. And I talked to Jen and, Jen was basically like, well, you already travel a lot, so I'm open to it, but let's make sure that it happens at a time when it's not overwhelming and you're not traveling a lot and then adding this other trip on top of it. And I think that is a reasonable answer. And I don't know exactly what that means for how often I'll get out to LA, but we're like trying to figure it out. And then I just communicated that back to you. And that left us with really no good answer about when I'm going to be in LA. But at the very least, we can start working on it. And I don't love that that's it. I don't love that I can't just say, yeah, great. I will see you next week in LA. I would much rather do that. That sounds great. This is also the moment of life that I'm in, and you have to live with that.
Yeah. Imagine if you married the other lady, the Boston lady.
That's true.
I wouldn't even know you.
You wouldn't. You actually wouldn't, because I would have never moved to New York, which is where we met. So, right. There's this line that I've sure used so many times on this show, but is so valuable to me, which is not looking at things through the lens of, is this perfect? But rather looking at things through the lens of, is my new problem better than my old problem? And, that I think that applies to a lot of this stuff too. Like, we have this particular structure in our lives right now. Is my new problem better than my old problem? Yeah, I like this life. It creates new problems, and I don't like those problems. We'll solve for those problems, and then we'll have other problems. So we have to deal with that too. But that is definitely different than the language of feeling held back by their partner, which is what you had originally contrasted the idea of a compromise with.
Yeah. You are also insatiable. Like, you
Yes.
are Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that the right way to describe it?
No, Energizer Bunny is good. Do kids know what the Energizer Bunny is?
I know. I always worry about all of these
how old is that reference?
that we have. I know. Kids are not listening to the show, so
yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but
you
you're
can say all sorts of
insatiable.
bad things about that. Yeah.
You would be on the road every single day. You also, I think that grounding that Jen offers, who is equally ambitious
Mhm.
and has her own amazing career, and you guys, work it out, and you have a system where you're both so crazy successful, and you have this dope, healthy family,
Mhm.
and and in 8 years, you'll just be annoying me all the time and be like, I'm outside.
Will not be able to get rid of me. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that reminds me of this conversation that Jen and I just had. This is probably just driven by me and my general distaste for routine, to go to your Energizer Bunny metaphor, which is true. I am totally insatiable. I want to do everything. I really don't like being home. I don't like having a routine. And so this ends up being a thing that I talk about a lot. And this was over the summer where Jen said to me, and I'm glad that she asked because I hadn't thought about it. She was like, how do you square that you don't like routine with being married to the same person? Like, she is a routine. And I hadn't thought about it. And I'm glad that she asked. And the answer was clear to me, which is what I told her, which was, I said, well, look, you can't do everything. And there's a world in which I suppose it would be fun to just be like an unmarried, floating around the world kind of person. But I like being married to you. And what I think is really valuable is that you are a good partner in disrupting routine. Like, she is really proactive about reaching out to people for social events. And she is down for, let's go try this thing. Let's go to that thing. Like, she is an excellent partner in disrupting routine. Like, you can't have everything. No routine, literally no routine it would be chaos. That would mean not having a home and not having a foundation. I like having a foundation. I like having a home. I like having her as a consistent part of this. But that is very much because she is who she is, and she's able to add new things constantly while also being a stable, good thing. And so that's what I told her. And she was very happy with that answer. It's true. It's like, where's the balance, right? Where's the balance? And you have to find a partner that feels that balance well. Stick around. Help Wanted will be right back. Welcome back to Help Wanted. Let's get to it.
So the hiding accolades part of this study, right? That was part of it too. Like where somebody hides accolades.
46%. Yeah, 46% of people hide achievements from their significant other.
I mean, that's, similar to financial infidelity. You don't want to actively hide it. I will say I do unintentionally hide a lot of, I don't know if they're accolades, but, good things that happen during the day and in our business from my husband unintentionally. He is more than welcome to know everything. He has my passwords on my phone, my everything. I'm not hiding anything. And he tries to make me better at this. I just am very self-deprecating, and I'm just like, it's fine. Like, I've done that before. Like, it's whatever. He's like, that is a really, really big deal. And I'm like, whatever. Anyway, we did a deal. We are going on a show. We're doing a thing. Anyways, I'll put it on your calendar. He is a good partner in that he encourages me to celebrate those things. And so it's not part of the study, but I thought I would just tell you about it.
I appreciate it. So it's like, is that really because you have trouble celebrating your own achievements?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I wouldn't put myself in I'm hiding my achievements, but I think that's not a healthy thing. But a healthy thing is if somebody does feel more, what the word is, not self-deprecating, but just very nonchalant or modest. I don't know about big, exciting accolade type events that happen. Having somebody who encourages you or understands that about you to bring that out. I think the spirit of the study obviously is different. It's that somebody is embarrassed to tell their partner because their partner will be mad or shame them or tell them not to do those
or it'll exacerbate tension. I mean, there have definitely been, Jen's gone through, as a considerably more anxious person than me, she's gone through moments in which she's been full of doubt about her career, or she had a string of things not go well. And those are definitely times in which I might hold on to that something really great happened to me, because I just don't want her to feel like an imbalance of achievement or of good things. And then I'll usually tell her later. I kind of just hold on to it for the minute. And so I have been mindful of that sometimes. And the same is true, I guess, interestingly, now that I think about it, with friends sometimes. Friends who
if they're just got let go or something, you're not all about celebrating.
Just telling them, right? Yeah, I will definitely I would tell you more just sort of things that are going really well for me than if I got together with a friend who's stuck at the job for a couple of years and is feeling pretty stagnant. I don't want to rub that stuff in their face. But
but you also didn't tell me when my house burned down, that you got a speaking gig or something.
Yeah, no, that would have been
being a good human.
Yeah, that's right. But could you imagine if I had done what an incredibly obnoxious thing?
Sorry to hear that, but just to cheer you up.
But the speaking business is hot.
Yeah. And I know you listen to Money Rehab all the time.
Your daily show that everyone should listen to. Yeah, Maggie Q.
Actress, amazing actress. It's in Mission Impossible, Nikita, all the things. And incredibly lovely human, came on the show, talked about being in a marriage that she's super happy in, feels a lot of peace, had dated, I think famously, some other actors, was on tabloids and things like that. But she said, in the past, I had experienced a lot of jealousy, professional jealousy. So I just wouldn't tell my partner about, big roles, I guess, or big achievements, because that would create some jealousy. And obviously that was the wrong partnership. Why are you smirking at me?
No, I was still replaying the idea of your house burning down and then me calling you to tell you about a speaking engagement. It's just so incredibly horrifyingly obnoxious as an idea that it was very funny. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Thank you so much. So she was just like, those weren't the right relationships. And now my husband, I think they met because he invested in her company. He's a big cheerleader. He's, always encouraging her to do more. And that's the right type of relationship to be in. Like you should be encouraging of those things. And, if somebody is modest or hiding those things just because they should celebrate them more, I think a partner could bring that out if it's the right relationship. So all these people who are on the wrong side of the stat, like just go find someone else. Go on a dating app. There has to be an ambitious one.
Can I get Match.com to sponsor this episode? Let's see if we can get that before it comes out.
Spencer, are you paying attention? Are you listening? Yeah. Spencer Graskopf, who used to run Zillow, now at Match Group. Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I'm sure on dating apps, there are some ways to, I don't know. I don't think you can ascertain somebody's level of true ambition based on what they put on their dating app or, their job or whatever.
Right. No. Although when I was searching for someone who became Jen when I was on dating apps, what I wrote, I'm sure I've told you this. Do you remember what I wrote in the search?
Tell me.
Jewish journalist.
Stop.
Yeah.
You were that specific?
Jewish journalist.
Oh, for yourself or for her?
No, for her. I was
because you both are.
Yes, but that's not, no. That's not what I wrote in my profile. That is what I wrote in the search bar.
Because back in the day it was like,
right. Because there's no swiping. Yeah, this is back in the day where it's like it's a website and everyone's profile is like 3,000 words long. It's okcupid.com. And I went to the search bar and I typed Jewish journalist and up came Jen. And I married her. It worked out.
Wow, that is very specific. It blurred in with, in The Big Short, how the Michael Burry character talks about what he put on his Match.com profile. So I was conflating the two. So he said, I met my wife through Match.com. Look at you guys. So much in common. My profile said, I am a medical student with only one eye, an awkward social manner, and $145,000 in student loans. That was his profile. And she wrote back, you're just what I've been looking for. And she meant honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Also a lovely way to end this episode because that right there is the cure to all of these horrible statistics.
Just be honest.
Just be honest.
And short the housing market if it looks like it's going down.
Yeah. Be honest and make a lot of money.
My mottos in life, Jason.
Help Wanted is a production of Money News Network. Help Wanted is hosted by me, Jason Pfeiffer.
And me, Nicole Lappin. Our executive producer is Morgan Lavoie. If you want some help, email our helpline at helpwanted@moneynewsnetwork.com for the chance to have some of your questions answered on the show. And follow us on Instagram at Money News and TikTok at Money News Network for exclusive content and to see our beautiful faces. Maybe a little dance.
Oh, I didn't sign up for that.
All right, well, talk to you soon.